let's go ahead and get cracking. Thank you for, if you're out there and you're just, you didn't sign up so you could comment on Twitch, I'm going to trust, hey, what's up, Grimsley? Grimsley from West, thank you for showing up. I'm just going to trust that, we got folks that are here. So, start reading, man. Boring the snot out of me. I'm just going to trust that you guys didn't get a Twitch account. You're not commenting, but you're here and you're watching. So, and if you guys dig it, make sure you take these, you let folks know, Thursdays and Sundays, 6 p.m., we're going to be Bible tripping. It's Bible tripping. I was going to say Bible studying and Bible tripping at the same time, and it came out as Bible stripping. I'm sorry about that.
Let's not multitask, honey.
I know, right? So save your multitasking for your drumming. That's the only thing that you're good at multitasking. But other than that, dude, don't try to walk and chew gum at the same time.
It comes out, no.
I know, it comes out so wrong, man. All right, let's see what we got. So we're picking up on our Bible tripping with our dude Abram, and in here he's going to become Abraham. So we're at Genesis 17, covenant of circumcision. This is where God is just like, this is where I want to find out if you're truly dedicated. It's like God is like, okay, we're gonna find out if you the real deal. Okay, so let's see what we get.
Real quick, what Bible are you reading from?
I'm reading from the Jewish Family Messianic Bible. Usually, for folks who ask like what Bible do I read, I got a Jewish Messianic Bible, Family Messianic Bible, and I got my New King James. But guys, I refer to I go to Bible Hub. And Bible Hub has, like, at a glance, like a myriad of versions of the scriptures. So I cross with those too. So it offers you, it's awesome, man. It'll give you like the different versions of the Bible. Gives you got the Hebraic breakdown. Gives it to you in the Greek, so you can break this stuff down. And, and to those who be like, well, there's so many translations of the Bible and stuff like that. Guys, don't take that as a negative. Don't let anybody make you feel like it's a negative because the Bible has so many translations. Because, as several of y'all know, when you open up, like the Hebrew meaning of these words, guys, it opens up like a can of like those snakes that bounce out of a peanut can. It's like a lot of compression in there. So when you unlock a word in the Hebrew, like it opens up really big. Same thing with the Greek. One word, has its meaning is really deep, So if the Bible was written the same way that it would break down in the Hebrew and in the Greek, man, the Bible would be like this flipping thick. Okay, it's like it would take me so long to like really get through it. But the Bible has different translations because each one of the translations are going to really capture the different angles of what these words break down as in the Hebrew and the Greek, in the Greek. Sorry. So you want these different translations. It's okay. Because we're supposed to study the Bible in fellowship. You don't just like keep the word to yourself and try to figure it out by yourself. Right. You invite God into it, and then we're supposed to fellowship. So it's like we'd be like, well, what does your Bible say? How does your Bible translate it? And then when we compare those meaning, because like say for instance, for one translation of the Bible, it's probably really grabbing this meaning of the Hebrew word. It's all going to be kind of relevant, but sometimes there's a little difference in their translation. But in the full scope of things, it fits because it helps you to create a three-dimensional picture. So when you're reading, it's like when I'm reading with my wife, like her, she may have a different translation of the Bible than I do. And I'm like, well, what does your translation say? And then when we're able to put those translations together, it creates a more in-depth picture of what the Bible is saying. It's not contradicting itself. It's not canceling itself out or anything like that. It's creating a fuller picture. Right. That's what it's doing. That's why the Bible, it's like God's not an idiot, guys. He knows what we're going to do with the word. He's going to protect his word. And he's going to give us a way to be able to study it so we can really create the full picture of what he's trying to tell us. So don't anybody discourage you from saying, oh, the Bible's translated this way and it has all these different translations. How do you know it's real? It's like, no, man, we can see what God's doing when he gives us these different, because like I said, with all these translations, you try to compress that into one Bible, the Bible would just be way too big. You're going to have these different translations. And together, we paint the picture as we read.
Yeah.
We bring these different elements. That way the Bible, and trust me, when you do that, you'll find the Bible is not contradicting itself, and the different translations do not work against themselves. They complement each other.
Yeah. All the translations say the same thing, but in different ways.
Yep.
And that's the point of how you know it's true and real.
Right. So when you break it down into English, you know, maybe some variances in sentence structure and stuff like that, or some variances in words and stuff like that. It's in full context. It's all going to break down to the same thing.
Yep.
And don't let anybody try to tell us that the Bible is inconsistent or contradictory or anything like that. Okay, let's see what we got. When Abram was 99 years old, Adonai appeared to Abram. At this point, he's Abram right now, which means high father. Abram means high father. Excuse me. High daddy. Top daddy. That's what Abram means. Oh, what's up, man? I'm Abram. I'm top daddy, baby. All right. And let me see. I am El Shaddai. Continually walk before me, and you will be blameless. Okay, now let's remember that right there. Where he says, continually walk before me, and you will be blameless. And we're going to come back to that. At least I'm going to try to remember to. You know me, man. I'm just ADD and whatnot. All right. My heart's desire is to make my covenant between me and you. God, your grammar is horrible. Shouldn't that be between you and I? I'm sorry. Grammar. Don't go grammar Nazi on God. All right, I ain't trying to go grammar Nazi on God. But that's why grammar Nazis and liberals don't like that. You're spelling in your grammar. Man, you're going to make a point, you're going to try to make this out to be a spelling bee. I don't like God. He uses bad grammar. He said me. Okay. All right.
Watch out, because they're going to say that you support Nazis.
Ah, that's right.
That guy got fired from CNN because he was making fun of somebody.
Where's my website? I ain't going to fire myself. But you're right, though. You're right. Let me see. Okay, my heart's desire is to make my covenant between me and you, and then I will multiply you exceedingly much. Abram fell on his face. Ooh, oh, snap, he tripped and fell. No, he fell on his face, and God spoke with him, saying, for my part, because my covenant is with you, you will be the father of a multitude of nations. No longer will your name be Abram, which remember means high father, top daddy. Okay. But your name will be Abraham, because I will make you the father of a multitude of nations. So when he goes from Abram, which means high father, he goes to Abraham, which means high father of the multitude. So when God, breathes that on him, as we can see, God is a heck of a multiplier. He speaks the universe into existence. He's going to give that to Abraham. Through you, a multitude is going to come and be blessed. All right? So he says, we're at 17:6. Yes, I will make you exceedingly fruitful, and I will make you into nations, and kings will come forth from you. Yes, I will establish my covenant between me and you, and your seed after you, throughout their generations for an everlasting covenant, in order to be your God and your seeds' God after you. All right, so let's back up on that for a second. So when we're talking, Nations.
But they're tiny.
Right? So we back up on this. Now we're talking about this multitude of nations. How many Jewish nations are there? I know of one Jewish state. So what does this mean? Like say for instance, when we talk about nations, I'm assuming, and I hope that we can have a dialogue on this if you guys toss this around a little bit. When we're talking about nations, we're talking about tribes. We know that there's 12 tribes. We've got 12 patriarchs of Israel. So just like you got your Cherokee Nation. It's a tribe, right? Apache Nation. So you got these tribes. So now that yields 12. And in the grand scheme of things, when we read through the whole Bible, it seems like the highest number of these nations is going to be 12. Like when we have New Jerusalem, there's going to be 12 gates, and they're going to be named after the patriarchs. So there's 12. So what are these nations that we're talking about? Well, I'm assuming that these nations turn out to be the multitudes of people under these nations. It's going to be a higher number than the dust of the earth. Okay? For every speck of dust you can find, there's going to be more people. It's like out of Abraham, be more people than stars that you can count in the sky. So, and which nation, which raises the question, with the Gentiles, which nation are we? Now, it's like there's going to be a sea of nations, y'all. But I think about, well, which nation do we belong to? I would reckon as Gentiles, we're under the adopted nation of Judah, the line that Jesus comes through. Now, this doesn't seem far-fetched to me because of the adoptive element. Like when you got Leah, so who's going to be the matriarch? This is so we got Leah. When she was able to have kids, she was able to have children, but she still wanted Jacob to father children from her servants. And from her servants, she considers those to be her kids. Those are hers. She adopted those kids. So, and Judah comes from Leah, where our Messiah comes through. So just as Leah adopts the children of her servants, we're adopted into the line of Judah. It's a speculation I'm throwing out there for us to marinate on, because we're going to be part of that. We're going to be part of that nation. So, and you're going to have myriads of people. The seed will spread under these nations that are blessed, right? So that's something we could think about in considering that verse right there. And throughout the generations for an everlasting covenant, in order to be your God and your seed's God after you. I will give to you and your seed after you the land where you are an outsider, the whole land of Canaan as an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. Now, I relate this to y'all to the internet. So we can see right now that the internet is this frontier. It's this territory where we can make so much happen. Commerce, ideal sharing, connecting, connecting with people, the things that, we're able to exchange online. It's like I said, it's this new frontier, this cyber frontier that we have, that we're able to do so many things. This to me, it's almost like cyber Canaan. Okay? The internet itself is the whole land. And it's almost like I feel the Lord is telling us, I want you to take the land. For us Christian conservatives, we're supposed to occupy this land. This land now that's occupied by godless liberals. And like when people say that, how come you're not on, how come you're getting off Facebook and stuff like that? Facebook to me represents the tribes that are occupying the Canaan, the whole land. These are like the giants, so to say. These are the Amalekites. These are the Canaanites that have posted up. These are their strongholds. Facebook, YouTube, Google, Twitter. This is their stuff. But this isn't the whole land. These are just strongholds that they have. The whole land is the internet itself. The whole land is cyber Canaan. And we're supposed to get in and we're supposed to take it. This is not against nature. Because that's what God tells us to do. I want you to go forth and subdue. That was like orders to Adam. Go forth, subdue the earth. Yeah. We're supposed to do that. We're supposed the command that he gives, with Moses. Go take it. Yeah, I know that there's people occupying that territory. I know what the report is. I want you to go take it. So this is the whole internet. So now it's the same thing like with Facebook. Facebook is like Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, even though we're supposed to take the land, even Lot was told to get out. He was told to get out of there. So, like I said, if you're using Facebook, I'm not making any judgment. It's like use it. I understand. It's to a degree, it's an enjoyable medium.
Yeah, some people do it just to keep in touch with family members.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, there are certain people that Facebook, but the thing is, y'all, like for those who are like, I still like to use Facebook, or I still have to have my Starbucks coffee and stuff like that, y'all, we're paying into the promotion of liberalism. And it's like, well, if man, or like, paying money to watch these movies and these TV shows and Netflix and stuff like that. It's like, I get it, y'all. If we didn't have these things, it would be really boring, which means that maybe you got to start to get a little creative and know how to entertain yourself. I know that, and it's like, and don't let your mind go to the gutter on that, like I did. You got to find some way to like, be creative or somehow, because the thing is, y'all, is the more we buy into these things that liberals create, the worst thing is like you got a choice. You can either be bored and start learning how to get creative, or you can just watch this drama keep boiling up. Yeah. Okay, we're about to. It's getting to where we're going to start being at war in the streets, y'all. Why? Because we keep supporting the things that liberals do.
Yeah, we're funding the enemy.
We fund the enemy, y'all. That's what we do. So, I'm not trying to be some fuddy-duddy and getting off Facebook and not, getting Netflix and doing these things like stuff. Y'all, I'm trying not to fund the enemy. That's what it comes down to. And y'all know I've been saying this for years. Y'all, we gotta support the creativity. And too many, conservatives out there, they're just looking out themselves. They want to be the pioneers. I got a lot of conservatives out there that are afraid to even say my name because they don't want the competition instead of helping each other. Hey, but they want to be the pioneers. They want to be the one to tell people that, oh, this is the secret history of the Democrats, and this is what the Democrats have been doing and stuff like that. Stuff that, that I've been saying for years, and other people have been saying for years. I learned about it from Rush Limbaugh. I learned about this stuff from David Barton. I'm not trying to be the guy who says, oh, yeah, I knew all this stuff. I give credit where credit is due. But this thing where it's like some people, they want to act like they're the sole holders of this information, and they want to be the ones recognized to be the pioneers who let other people know. And that's stupid. That's why we got this problem now. And I got other conservatives out there who are afraid to even be affiliated with me because they're afraid of how it's going to affect their livelihood. They don't want pictures posted with me and stuff like that because I'll give them away. I'll give away their party leanings, and it'll hurt their chances of getting starred in a liberal movie in Hollywood. So I got sold out badly. But because of stuff like that, and the things that we support and the things that we don't support, well, this is why these liberals are they're growing nuts in the streets, because we've helped them. If we had Republicans like we have today during the Civil War, we would have lost.
Oh, gosh, yes.
We would have lost, y'all.
The Republicans are just too into either funding a politician or it's going to be funding their own subjugation pretty soon.
Exactly. So, forgive me for going off on a tangent, but this is real. That's one reason why I try to keep doing this, y'all, because the main truth to get down to, instead of trying to figure out all these things about Trump and Hillary and all that, and don't get me wrong, it's not that we should know these things, but man, if people would get down to studying the Word of God, studying Jesus, studying the real truth, we wouldn't have these problems like this, y'all. We would still have problems because we're not perfect, but y'all, it would just be a better place. That's why I try to do this with y'all. You know what's up. That's why you're here. All right, so where we at? Okay, as an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. God also said to Abraham, as for you, my covenant you must keep, you and your seed after you throughout their generations. This is my covenant that you must keep between me and you and your seed after you. All your, here we go. Get your clearance space on. All right. My covenant that you must keep between me and you and your seed after you. All your males must be circumcised. Get with me with that thing. Okay. All right. You must be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin. And this will become a sign of the covenant between me and you. Also, your 8-day-olds must be circumcised, every male, throughout your generations, including a houseborn slave or a slave bought with money from any foreigner who is not of your seed. Your houseborn slave and your purchased slave must surely be circumcised. So my covenant will be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. Okay, so let's back up really quick. So when it's talking about, the first thing we'll address is like the slave things. Oh, what? Houseborn slave and slaves that you bought. See, the Bible is pro-slavery. It's like, no. Let's not forget, God says you kidnap somebody and try to force them into slavery, you keep them for yourself, or you sell them, you are to be put to death. God does not look kindly upon slavery. This is a different kind of servitude, y'all. These are people who either sold themselves into slavery or there was like slave brokers and stuff like that. People just need them. It's like this is the way they know how to make a living. This is the way they know how to survive. So they may sell themselves into slavery or sell themselves to like a kind of agency that finds finds them places to be in a live-in servitude situation and stuff like that. They sell themselves basically into a property or an indentured servant. Sometimes lifelong appointments. Sometimes they'll be born in slavery and so forth. But it's not the kind of forced slavery, or sometimes it's slavery in a sense of spoils of war, where other tribes were oppressive to themselves, right? And then a war, or they're trying to expand their territory. They get beaten back, and the spoils of war are slavery. But it's not an instance of where they're kidnapping innocent people and keeping them for themselves as slaves or selling them into slavery. It's a totally different dynamic. So no, the Bible is not pro-slavery. Interesting though. Also, so we got some. Y'all may be familiar with the also your 8-day-olds must be circumcised. And we look at that, it's biologically sound because at that age, that's when you're able to have a blood coagulation. That vitamin K gets produced, and so that way, you know, the kid doesn't bleed out. You know, when you put when you drop the snip on him. So
also, can you address liberals who attack the whole circumcision thing?
Now, dig this, y'all. This is where I know that the Lord is right when it comes to circumcision. When you got liberal men out there having a hissy fit over circumcision, like, you know what? Circumcision, as much as it makes a person want to cringe, I know that God is right and you're not. When you have these liberal men out there trying to make a statement for against circumcision by doing a little man spreading and putting like, you know, a red stain that's supposed to be like blood and say this is genital mutilation and your God is sadistic and stuff like that. That's when I know God is right. Yeah. Okay, you know, it's like trying to make like some sort of you know, making it look like a man. Excuse me for saying if you have children, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know, menstruation is a biological thing, but, you know, you may not be ready for your kids to, like, hear stuff like that. I'm sorry that I dropped that on you just so quick and abruptly, but, you know, but we're using it in good company and good mannerisms. So I don't think your children will be having nightmares. So, you know, but trying to make that comparison. But speaking of comparison, I think it's just disgusting when you have these liberals that want to come against God for circumcision, which does not deprive the male of being sexually active. Meanwhile, under Sharia, a woman who will undergo actual genital mutilation, you know, she has a certain part of her anatomy cut off. That's genital mutilation. That's cruelty. Yeah. But we got to be PC, and we can't address that. But for Christians, oh, so evil because of circumcision. You know, the reasons for circumcision are, one, because of hygiene. You know, and when we're getting down to now with God, this covenant in the flesh is because when it comes to a man, you know, it's like that's like a central part of our flesh. And we don't want to mess with that. And God's just like, look, in your flesh, because we live for our flesh. And God's just like, let's get down to the nitty gritty. I want to know that I take precedence over your flesh. I have to know that. I want this story to be a testament to those who read it. It's that Abraham took the responsibility to say, okay, God over my flesh. Wow. Now, circumcision may very well not be something that's even exclusive in Judaism. Other tribes, it's like, remember guys, there were tribes even before Abraham was called to make this account. There were other tribes that were that were probably doing some form of circumcision. You got even like tribes in some tribes, like say for instance in Africa, are given the charge to go out and basically shave off the skin. Yeah. All right. So this is an old ancient practice, but with God didn't tell them to necessarily mutilate themselves. If anything, it's not mutilation; it's more of like a manicure. Emphasis on man, manicure. But when a person is uncircumcised, they're more susceptible to acquiring disease or spreading it. It is a kind of a hygienic practice to be uncircumcised. Now, some would ask, well, if God is all perfect and he made, and he knows what he's doing, why would he create an attribute on Adam or in the descendants after him, something that would have to be cut off? Well, y'all, Adam wasn't supposed to ever acquire disease. It wasn't a thing. Yeah. That STDs weren't supposed to be an issue. Right. We weren't supposed to have like gonorrhea and stuff like that, and herpes in the garden and stuff like that. It wasn't supposed to be no free clinics, penicillin and whatnot. It wasn't supposed to be an issue. But because of the fall of man, now disease is an issue. You can catch one of those pretty easy with, an uncircumcised Johansson. Hey, so God makes this covenant. It's like, look, man, I got to be God over your flesh. Yeah. This is the one thing. It's like, because you know how it is. Hey, guys, given the choice, hey, I can either cut off your hand or I can cut off, your willy there. You hand him your hand. Okay, well, go ahead. What about your arm? Yeah, but man, don't touch my junk, man. You keep that thing away from my junk, Jack. Right? That's how we are, fellas. Just recognize, and God knows that. So, but once again, guys, God he didn't order that as a means of depriving us of our sexual propensities and our abilities to do it. Yeah, that's not what he did. So anyway, moving on from that. I'm sorry?
Verse 14.
14. Thank you, womans. But the uncircumcised male. I'm sorry. I wanted to touch on this also. Let me see. When it's talking about slave or slave bought with money from any foreigner who is not of your seed, your houseborn slave and your purchased slave must surely be circumcised. So my covenant will be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. Now, he's talking about, whether you're a foreigner or foreign slave. You know how liberals love to use, they like to cherry pick scripture. They like to cherry pick scripture and talk about, when I was a stranger, you let me in, and, take in the foreigner and all that sort of stuff, which they really misread, especially right here. What is Abraham saying? Upon taking in the foreigner, the foreigner has to assimilate, even on down to circumcision. So when the foreigner comes into America, yeah, our doors are open to you, but you got to assimilate to our laws, baby. You can't just come in here you can't bring what you left into America and turn America into what you left. It don't work that way. When you come to America, you're going to assimilate to our laws. So and the Bible is telling you that straight up right here. Yeah, we welcome you. Heck yeah. That's what makes America great. The peoples from us, like I said, we're not better than everybody else. We are everybody else. But if you're going to be here, it doesn't matter where you come from. We're here to assimilate under a particular set of laws. And you can't bring your political statutes. You can't bring that stuff from where you ran from to America. Don't do that. So the Bible is letting you know right here, assimilation. That's what you're going to do. So in Abraham's house, they're going to assimilate all the way down to circumcision. Hey, let's see. Surely be circumcised, so my covenant will be with you in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. But the uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that person will be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. Now, let's crack this over, man. Because I'm seeing a picture of like, Revelation, man, and we're talking about the Millennial Kingdom. Now, a lot of this stuff opens up for me because when it's talking about, like, when we're talking about these nations, and how many, you got the patriarchs, we got the 12, tribes and stuff like that, and when this Millennial Kingdom comes in, this reminds me of this because in the flesh, the person will be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. The thing, just a little rabbit trail here is when I think about the Millennial Kingdom and we're supposed to reign and rule with Christ, my question is, who are we reigning and ruling over? And there's a lot of things that open up from there. There's a big conversation, and I'd like for you guys to present your ideas. Like, who are we going to reign? Now we have we'll be reigning over the children that we'll be having. Will we be reigning and ruling over those who survive the tribulation period and stepping into the millennial reign? So these are things that, I'd like to just throw out there because in the millennial reign, y'all, there will still be death. People will still die. It seems like, Jesus is going to be here. It's like, isn't everybody going to be immortal at this time? No, everybody's not going to be immortal. People will still die. And during the millennial reign, I wonder, it's like, is it going to be a decay of peace? Or will it be 1,000 years of perfect peace? Will it be a time where, even though Jesus is reigning, will people even start to fall away? I mean, God was with Adam and Eve, and look what happened. God was on the mountain as a pillar of fire and pillar of smoke, and the Jews were like, okay, worship a golden calf. So even with 1,000 years of Christ perfectly reigning, will people still be like, yeah, I want to do my own thing? Is that still going to be possible? The Bible does say that there will be people who will die during the millennial reign. But even though, because it says things like the child, like say for instance, that one thing that's cool is that there will be no more like stillborns. You won't have to worry about crib death because children won't be dying. But an old man can live to his measure. He can live to 100 years. But it says that if he doesn't live to 100 years, then he's accursed. So people can still be knuckleheads even during the millennial reign. And the reason why I bring this up, y'all, is because even right here, because when Jesus comes, man, that's because, and we're in that millennial reign because we've agreed to the covenant with him. We've taken him as our Lord and Savior. He's our portion. We're with the covenant with him. And this right here, Abraham is making this covenant with God. But for those who don't keep the covenant, they will be cut off. So what I'm pointing out is that it's already setting the precedent. It's already setting this picture that you can have God right there with you and you can still step away from him. And it's like, dang, man, why would y'all do that? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to step away from God when he's right there with you? But y'all, throughout the Bible, it speaks of that happening all the time, which means that even in the millennial kingdom, this is setting a picture of it right now. Even in the millennial kingdom, you will have people stepping away from God. Even in the millennial kingdom, y'all, there will be a decay. And that's just sad. That's sad, man. So when Satan is released, he will already have an army waiting to serve him. Sadness, man. Sadness.
Republicans' reprisal wants to know, Zoe, is it true in biblical times the father had to perform the circumcision on the son?
We're gonna get to that in just a second because I have a question for that question. The question was from Republican Reprisal. I don't know if you heard my lovely wife read it over my microphone that's on my computer here, asking if what was that question again?
Is it true in biblical times the father had to perform the circumcision on the son? Okay,
now it looks like like I said, we're gonna get to that in a second. And there was something else that I said that I was gonna get to. Let me see. Spoke to him. Oh yeah, walk before me, and you will be blameless. Okay, don't let me forget that either. I want to touch on that. Okay, so now let's take to 15. God also said to Abraham, "As for Sarai, your wife, you shall not call her by the name Sarai." And Sarai means my princess. Okay? She's my princess. You shall not call her by the name Sarai, rather Sarah is her name. And I will bless her, and moreover, I will give you a son from her. Now, Sarai, my princess, to Sarah, which means my princess over the multitude. So, so from there, God says, and I will bless her, and moreover, I will give you a son from her. I will bless her, and she will give rise to nations. Kings of the people will come from her. Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed and said to his heart, man, you can't keep that to yourself, Abraham. God knows what you're saying. Eavesdropping on you in your heart there. Will a son be born to a 100-year-old man? Or will Sarah, who is 90 years old, give birth? It's like, Abraham, why does this surprise you, dude? Your daddy was like 70 years old when you were born. Your daddy lived to be like, what, 207 years old? Is something like that? You know, it's like, why does this shock you? That's a pattern. That's a pattern in the Bible, y'all. Is that, and it's so much speaks to the human condition where you can have these things like right in front of your face and people still don't get it. You can have, it's like, dude, did you not see what I just did? Did you not see what you just came from? How are you not believing this now? It was demonstrated to you already. The Bible speaks of this all the time, and humanity does it all the time.
So yeah, you're talking to God. Hello?
Come on now.
I think he can do this. He can handle it.
Exactly. I mean, thank you. That's all you need. It's like, dude, I'm God. You're talking to me right now. And you don't believe that you can't have a kid at 100 years old? Man, Abraham, you know, you were doing really good, man. I just gave you a new name and everything. Don't do this to me right now. Already? Come on, man. All right. So Abraham said to God, if only Ishmael might live before you. Okay, Ishmael might live. Now, the way I'm reading that, y'all, is if only Ishmael might live before you. Is Abraham asking God, man, if only Ishmael would act right? Man, it's like he's just thinking to himself, man, if only Ishmael would get his stuff together, man, and just act right and just walk before you. If only he would do it. Now, remember, because this is going back to where I was saying, don't let me forget earlier, when I was talking about Verse 1, I am El Shaddai. Continually walk before me. He's saying this to Abram. Continually walk before me and you will be blameless. Well, Abram wants the same thing for Ishmael. And he's saying to himself, man, if only Ishmael would follow in my footsteps. If only he would walk before God and be blameless. Like me, like his old man. Right? Now, is he saying that? Or is he saying to God, God, you don't have to give me another kid, man. Just take Ishmael. What's wrong with Ishmael? Can't Ishmael be the son that you produce all these things that you're going to say through? I mean, he's real. He's right here. I mean, he's tangible. I fathered him, and there was no hocus pocus involved or anything like that. It's like, Abraham, watch your tongue, boy. Watch your tongue now. Don't use that hocus pocus word with me. Okay, so it's like, but Ishmael's right here. He's real. Why can't he be, the child that all these nations come through that you're promising me? Okay? But he can't be, y'all, because Abraham did something. He did something in the natural, and there's no miracle there. Ishmael's not a miracle child. Right. That's what we need to look to, because also remember, this is a picture. We got to create the picture of Christ. Abraham is going to have a miracle child. Jesus is a miracle child. So we have to connect these miracle dots. Ishmael's he's not a miracle child. So it can't be him. As for Ishmael, and God says, so I will confirm my covenant with, I'm sorry, let me back up to 19. But God says, on the contrary, homie, Sarah, your wife will bear you a son, and you must name him Isaac. I want you to name him Isaac because I want y'all to remember that you laughed when I told you that a miracle is coming your way.
Isaac means laughter.
Right?
Like
As far as I know, Isaac means laughter. And once again, y'all, he's wanting to drive the point home. It's like, look, miracle child. Miracle child. Now, Abram, even though you're an old man, you can still spread your seed, man. Obviously you can still spread your seed. Abraham and Sarah, according to the word, was fine. She was hot. So it's like Abraham, probably looking at her and saying, dang, it's like, hey, man, I might be a young man anymore, but girl, I come and get you. You looking good over there, baby. Hold on. Don't you do that. Oh, there we go. Okay, spin it. I had to spin and wheel it there for a second. Okay, so Abraham, the thing is, Abraham, even in his age, is still able to, perform sexually, right? It's like he's got his own line of like human growth hormone that he takes, to still keep, keep himself up. It's called the Abrahammer.
Oh, Lord.
It's like, Abraham, how do you stay in such terrific shape, man? And your wife seems really pleased. Well, I take the Abrahammer. Yeah, it's like, it's like we could like have a product for something like that. What Abraham does. So Abraham. So that's the thing. Even Abraham in his age, that's still not quite the miracle. Old man can still can do the thing, but a woman can get past childbearing age. But that wasn't even an issue with Sarah. It wasn't even about It's just like it's like stacked up. Not only was she past childbearing age, when could she ever been able to give birth? So God allowed these things to happen where it's like Abraham's trying to get her pregnant, but it ain't happening. So there's the question of, well, maybe Abraham is sterile, but he's not sterile, obviously, because he fathered kids by her handmaiden. And not only that, Sarah was given to the kings. That's why, Abraham was like, yeah, this is my sister, so please don't kill me. So she was bedding down with other men who were trying to get, father kids through her. But she never got pregnant, which means that she was never able to get pregnant. So God has shown that even in her, she hasn't ever been able to get pregnant. Now she's past the age of being able to get pregnant. Double whammy. Okay? So God is wanting to show this is going to be a miracle child. And that's what I want to stand out. That's why it can't be Ishmael. So let me see. Where was I at, babe?
Oh, I was typing, sorry.
Instead of performing your duties of keeping what verse I'm on, I'm telling God on you. All right. But my cup, what was it? 20?
19 or 20.
20, I'll take it. Only because you said so. As for Ishmael, man, I heard you. See, I have blessed him, and I will make him fruitful, and I will multiply him very, very much. Multiply him very much. He will father 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. Okay, now check this out. Did God honor his promise? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ishmael is that's your Arab people. A whole bunch of them. And they're fruitful because of the fruit that they juice is that oil. So they're a fruitful they're a multitude of people, a great nation because there's a great many number of them. But the thing is, though God blessed them to be a great nation, they don't have God. That's the difference. So God, it's like they got the blessings of God, but they don't have God. So they grabbed onto the blessing, but not the blesser.
Yeah.
So they may have a lot of resource or have a resource that yields a lot of blessing to them, but at the same time, it's not like they're a blessed people. It's their culture it's not as affluent or prosperous in ways that really spread a blessing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's because, like I said, they got the blessing, but they don't have God. They're not receiving God. Receiving his blessing, but not receiving God. So God owned up to what he said. It's like, yeah, there'll be a whole bunch of them. And and technically, I mean, if that wealth was to go, if they were allowed to really go for their own, there would be enough resources for each one of them to tap into and be collectively prosper, not on collectivism, but collectively, striving for their own pursuits. In the model of God, they'd be, generally, each one, for the most part, a more blessed and prosperous people, affluent people. But, that their prosperity is kind of consolidated, to more of the elites among them. But did he lie and say that they wouldn't be great? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. Yeah. Okay? I will make him a great nation, but my covenant will I establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you at this set time next year. When he finishes speaking with him, God went up from Abraham. Then Abraham took Ishmael, his son. He's like, Dad, get away from me, man. I know what you're going to do. You better leave me alone. Ishmael, his son, all of his houseborn slaves, and all his purchased slaves, every young male among the men of Abraham's house, Abraham at this time, and he circumcised the flesh of their foreskin on this very same day. Man, you know what? Abraham Boy, Abraham must have been one real charming dude. I mean, this dude, he must have been just like the most influential, charismatic, just laid back, chill dude who could just, it's like Abraham could get anybody to do whatever they want. It's like there's some spell that Abraham had over people, or even Abram at the time. It's like, you know, where it's like his own wife will be like, Abraham, won't you sleep with my handmaid? And Abraham like, all right, babe. You know, he's like, okay. You know, just sleep with my handmaid. It's like, it ain't no thing. Abraham, he could just get away with stuff like that. Abraham would just get away with just go, oh, you want me to sleep with your handmaid? All right. You know? And then in this right here, Abraham, hey, all y'all line up. I'm going to cut off a little piece of your Johnson. You know, it's like, they be like, okay, they be lining up. All right, right on, Abraham, you my dude, man. Okay, okay. Here you go, zip, right? Do your thing, buddy. Do your thing. It's like, he got no argument from anybody. I'm just go ahead and I'm going to snip off a piece of that thing. I'm going to snip it. And people just line up and they just going to do it. Abraham just has his way like that. Ishmael, 13 years old, just go, unzip, you know, or I don't know if they had zippers. They had rolls. Like, okay, Pops, yeah, do your thing, man. So they're going to cut that thing. Even his son, Isaac. Isaac, he said, hey, Pop, what you going to do? I don't see nothing to make a sacrifice with. Yeah, I know, man. Why don't you go ahead and lay up on this bed of rocks? I'm going to tighten it. Okay, Pops, yeah, man, that's cool. You cool, man. You the coolest daddy ever. It's like Abraham just has this influence over people. They just do whatever you want. It's like, dang, man, that's a dude with some serious mojo, man. Okay, so, but it looks like, I think to Republican reprisal, I think I'm getting down to your question about who is doing the circumcision here. When he finished speaking with God, went up from Abraham, then Abraham took Ishmael, his son, and all of his house-born slaves, all of his purchased slaves, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and he circumcised the flesh of their foreskin on this very same day, just as God had spoken with him. Was that the question? Did we get down to it?
Did fathers circumcise their sons in biblical days?
Okay. No, I think that was okay in biblical days. What I was gonna say is, as far as I know, circumcision is performed by a mohel. You probably already aware of that. I don't know if there was after Abraham, if there was a person appointed to be a mohel, if they created the position of a mohel to perform the bris. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, that's modern, isn't it?
It's yeah. So in terms of, or like say for instance with Moses, even though she was spiteful about it, she performed the circumcision. So I straight up, you know, that's something that's a good question. Let's research that and find out in these times who was given charge to perform the circumcision. The best I could tell you right now, as the father and probably the head of the household, is the person who performed the circumcision. But I remember saying that I was going to answer your question with a question. I got another question to ask. So, pertinent to that, the flesh of their foreskin of this the very same day, just as God had spoken with him. Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised. Oh my goodness. When he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And 99 years old, man, it's like, gravity does its thing by the time you're 99 years old. I don't know if Abraham had foreskin. He probably had like 5 skin or 8 skin by that time. You know? He had some snipping to do. All right. So he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, and his son Ishmael was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. On this very same day, Abraham and Ishmael, his son, were circumcised. Also, all the men of his house, houseborn slaves, and slaves purchased from a foreigner were circumcised with him. Now, okay, y'all, which brings me to question. Now, I don't think it's far-fetched to assume that Abraham was performing the circumcisions. But there's something in the language that seems to suggest that the circumcisions were performed on them, not by Abraham himself. Like, you know, what? Also all the men of his house, let me see, on that very same day, Abraham and Ishmael, his son, were circumcised. There's something in that that says, okay, they were circumcised. Circumcised by who? So, like I said, now, I'm trying to be careful, y'all, to not go off, too far in speculation. We try to stay to the word. You know the rule, y'all. You know the rule. We try to stay within the boundaries of what the word is yielding to us. But I want to present the question. I'm asking, who was performing the circumcision? It sounds like Abraham was doing it. Abraham was performing all the circumcision. Or maybe, he is the high father. So he's the head of the house. And imagine if there's a lot of these cats, maybe, he taught others how to do this. Like, look, this is how it's going to be. These are the instructions that I received from God on how to perform this. And probably had, like an assembly line. Or I guess in this case, a disassembly line. To do it. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to get too far out of what the word is suggesting to me. But it seems to be suggesting a couple things where either he did it or it was done to them. But my bigger, hold on, I got the spinning wheel of death. And let me catch up. Okay, hopefully we didn't miss too much of what I was saying. Now, like I said, it doesn't seem odd or far-fetched that he was performing a circumcision. But the real question I want to get down to is who circumcised Abraham? That's the thing I really want to get down to. Did he circumcise himself? It doesn't say. It doesn't seem to say, unless maybe it seems to say that towards y'all. If y'all do it, I'd appreciate if you could elaborate on it. But from what it's looking like to me, it doesn't seem like he circumcised himself, even though he very well might have. I'm wondering, and now we're always looking for pictures or parallels between Old Testament and the pictures that it paints for Christ. Now, Jesus himself, Jesus didn't baptize himself. Jesus was baptized. Doesn't it seem like Jesus would be well qualified to baptize himself? And Abraham, I'm pretty sure by the time he was done, was a wizard with that bris. I'm pretty sure he could do it with his eyes closed and behind his back and say, oops, snip, snip, snip. He was like a ninja with that thing, just going out snipping folks. Hey, so I'm pretty sure he could do a fabulous job on snipping himself. But just like Jesus could do a fabulous job on baptizing himself. But somebody baptized him. I'm wondering who baptized Abraham.
Who circumcised?
I'm sorry. Thank you. Some kind of eyes. Who circumcised Abraham? And now we know that Jesus says, before Abraham was, I am. Now notice that he says before Abraham was. Now Christ is eternal. But the Christ makes sure that you know that he says before. Notice that he didn't say before Abram was, I am. He says before Abraham was. I am. So, and who was here at this time making this covenant that would yield the name Abraham? Who gave him that name? It was Christ. It was because that's who could appear. God himself doesn't show us. You don't see God face to face. Nobody can look upon God and live. When you're having that encounter, you're talking to God. You're talking to Christ. He is the one he's the filter. He's the one that you can see God through, and God looks upon you through. So you don't burst into flames or something. So when Abraham is having this encounter, Abraham, as Jesus says, before Abraham was, I am. He was there. He was the one making that covenant. So could it be that Christ circumcised Abraham? Is that possible? Or could it be that Melchizedek? Could it be that, because, when Melchizedek shows up, right? Maybe Melchizedek came that day. Maybe he came that day as Melchizedek. Had his bris and everything. I don't know. I'm just throwing out something to marinate on. Please forgive me. I'm not trying to make a conclusion here. I'm just throwing it out there as speculation. I'm just curious. And the reason why I'm curious is because y'all, the Old Testament paints the picture of Christ, and I'm wondering if this is a correlation there. So, I'd like to hear your thoughts. I'd like to see your thoughts. Yeah. And that brings us, y'all, to the end of 17. I hope y'all had a good time. Let's see Who came to visit? I don't really see the feed, but I'm gonna scroll down a little bit to see if right now my scroller don't even want to work, don't even want to cooperate. It don't even want, the devil is in there. He don't even want me to see y'all.
We got Control Freak 88.
What's up, Melissa? Uh-oh, represent.
That's Melissa. Hi, Melissa.
Yup.
Yay.
Let's see. Republican Reprisals is asking, did Shem circumcise Abraham and Ishmael? Let's see. Good question. So we got, I'm not even sure if Shem was around at that point. If I don't think he was he alive to know Abraham? And maybe even if he was alive to know Abraham, was he alive by the time Abraham was 99 or 100 years old? I don't know if it could have been Shem to let me see. That's gonna take that would take a little bit of research. If we flip a few pages back and we can find the age that Shem lived until, and then until he dies. And I'm not sure how deep into Abraham's life he would have been, or if he was even alive when Abraham was born. So we got Abraham's born Terah, and then from there, let me see. We'd have to trace that genealogy back to see how long Shem was around. But that's a good question, though. I don't know. I can't say for sure. I'm leaning towards no. But let's double check that. Let's see what we got. Maybe we'll bring it up on the next one, or if you find it, leave it in the feed. See what we end up with. Let me see. Yes, that's right, Jane Doe Calico, the Abrahammer. All right.
Is it Dr. Butthole?
What? No, we don't. Really?
Someone joined us and their name is Dr. Butthole. That is an epic name.
Well, thank you, Dr. Butthole. I'm assuming that your occupation is probably in proctology, and I think for your profession, that is an awesome name. It's like when people show up to see the placard on your door, or like when they go to if you have like your private practice, or if you're in a hospital, something like that, and you see the marquee of the different door names, and it's like room 301 or through 701 or whichever, and people see like, oh, dude, it's room 701. He's on the 7th floor. What do we got? That Dr. Butthole. Okay, he must be the proctologist. That's awesome. You gotta have a doctor with a sense of humor.
Oh, he says close.
Close enough.
Brimsley 4 West joined us.
Uh-huh.
M King 2137, and they wrote, "Marvel not my brethren if the world hates you," and I so agree, and I have to keep that scripture in mind a lot.
That's right. It's hey, give me the love of God, any day. It's like, hey, if that costs us, people hating us, it sucks, but hey, the love of God is worth it, and a day is gonna come where we're gonna be surrounded, y'all, by nothing but, a society of people who just straight up love each other. We're going to be in agreement with the Lord. That day is coming, y'all. And if I can repeat, from where C.S. Lewis said, if it's like, if you have the need, to breathe. I'm paraphrasing. If you got the need to breathe, that's because there's air to facilitate that need. The things that we feel a need for, they exist. You feel the need to eat because there is food to facilitate that need. You feel, these things. But y'all, don't we have the need to live? We feel the need to survive, to live forever. If you're feeling, you want your health to stay good forever. We have a need for that. We have a need to feel like we're in perfect health. You know why? Because it exists. We don't want it to end. We have the need to survive and keep on living. Why? Because the facilitator of that need exists. Yeah. We have the need to live in peace. I'm just waiting for my spinning wheel so I can continue with my speech. Spinning wheel, stop. Okay, you stop spinning wheel. You gonna let me speak now? Well, there's a need. Just like I have a need for that spinning wheel to stop, and eventually it does, because there's something to facilitate that need. But we have a need, y'all, at least halfway well-adjusted people do. Some people want drama. Some people want all this chaos and stuff in their life. And guess what? There's something to facilitate that need. Obviously, there's plenty of drama to facilitate the need of people who want it.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's people out there who want to live in peace. Real peace. That's why we come to Jesus. Because he's the one who's going to facilitate that need. A day is going to come, y'all, when all this Antifa and freaking Black Lives Matter and all this liberal donkey holery is going to stop. Right? Because we have a need for it to stop. And it will. And it stops with Jesus. We take him when we're in his kingdom, y'all. And you know what? Even through the millennial kingdoms, obviously there's still going to be some knuckleheads who still need some drama. But after that, y'all, after that, that's when the buck is truly going to stop. And those who are down with the Lord, we gonna party forever, man. Even when we go to work, it's going to be like a party. We going to be waking up, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I can't wait to go to work. See my homies and stuff like that. Jesus is going to be there, right? It's going to be happening, man. So let's stay to it, man. Let's keep our grip. Keep our grip on the Lord. Thank you guys so much for Bible tripping with me. And it looked like it worked good. This is so cool. This is at my website, y'all. At my website. Cutting out the cutthroat middleman. Like Facebook and stuff like that, not using their platform. What a blessing this is. Guess I should have done this a long time ago. And I hope we can do it again. I will see you guys on Sunday. That's right. Have a blessed weekend, y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you. How do I stop this thing? Yeah, this is almost like, you know, after you have like an argument with one of your coworkers, like you try to storm out the door and try to slam it and it don't slam, or you forget your keys or something like that and you have to go back in. It's all
I feel like how we used to be able to slam the phone down in an argument, but you can't do that with a cell phone.
I know, right? They need a slam app.